Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Gianluca Massi speaking on the behalf of the Virtual Telescope Project, and it is such a pleasure for me to be here live to share with you something very, very special. At this point, I think that you are well aware that a very precious, very rare object is crossing the region of space where our solar system is. About 36 hours ago, my colleagues at the Atlas survey discovered, thanks to their observing station in Chile, a truly intriguing object. Actually an interstellar object, that is an object coming from the deep space and not belonging to our solar system, which is right now crossing, as I said, the region of space where we are, and it is, of course, ready to live over the next weeks and months, going back to the deep space. This is absolutely an amazing opportunity for us to study something very special, something coming from a different place than our solar system. This object is now named 3i Atlas. 3i is for interstellar, as I said. The number 3 is just telling us that this is the third object ever of this type. So far, we discovered earlier than this just two other interstellar objects. In 2017, we discovered the first one, ʻOumuamua, and 2 years later, in 2019, we discovered 2i, the comet Borisov. And this one is just the third. Even if it's impossible to make any statistics out of just 3 objects, I must say that the last one, the one we are just observing now, is outstanding. First of all, because its orbit is by far the most extreme among the three ones of this very small sample. But before I start any additional comment, I would like to start sharing with you the telescope site, the telescope console. So let me just have a look, my friends, and I will make the telescope console available to you. I want to share this telescope, which is the most flexible one. Here it is. So this is basically the telescope control, the telescope console. You can recognize that here you see the night sky. It's a planetarium, just a software just showing the sky above my observing facility. I am in Rome. My telescopes are about 120 kilometers north from here, under the beautiful skies, the very dark sky of the wonderful countryside of Maremma in Tuscany, a truly spectacular place. Even if the moon right now is actually making useless the dark sky of that place, I'm still happy that our facility is enjoying that rare, pristine skies. Now I have to point to make sure that the telescope is pointing the right place, and here we are. The telescope is already pointing. You can see here that we are just observing a region of the sky between the Sagittarius, one of the zodiacal constellations, and the tail of the serpent, in Latin serpens cauda. And just here you have the 3i Atlas interstellar object. I want to start taking images. Unfortunately, the sky is not perfect. We have scattered clouds all around, so I'm not sure what we will see, but here we are, and the only thing we can do is just trying and observing. So let me see if I can actually go. Okay, I'm just trying to adjust the focus a bit, because here in Italy, I must say that the temperature has been incredibly hot. We are around 40 Celsius degrees, which is honestly very unusual here in my country, especially at the very beginning of the summer season. Okay, At least we are in the right spot of the sky. And let me start taking images, and then while the telescope is collecting light, I will tell you a bit more about this object. As I said, this one was discovered on July the 1st by my colleagues at the Catalina Sky Survey. They actually spotted this very rare, unique object thanks to their observing station in Chile. As I said, it's the third object of this kind ever discovered after ʻOumuamua and comet Borisov a few years ago. And since the very beginning, when the first observations arrived, as soon as the Minus Planet Center made the object visible on their website asking for more observations, as I said, the observations provided by observers worldwide made clear that the orbit of this object was honestly just unique. What is very suggestive of its rare nature is the shape of the orbit. It's an hyperbolic orbit, and this is because the speed of this object is very, very high compared to object bound to the Sun, that is object belonging to the solar system. Now, it is not this the place to make a quick lesson of dynamics and conservative laws and so on, but in order to be an object coming from outside the solar system, you must have a very high velocity that is able to bring you away from the Sun. If you are moving on such a very high speed and you preserve that speed, you arrived from the very far away regions of of space, and you are destined to leave the solar system, and your orbit will be of the hyperbolic shape. This is a so-called hyperbolic excess velocity, and this object is quite outstanding in this regard because it's moving right now more or less at a speed of 60 kilometers per second. Velocity at infinity. This is amazing, my friends. Truly amazing. And its size is estimated to be about 20 kilometers, but this is a number which is still significantly uncertain, because if this is a comet, very likely, as some observers pointed out, and in this case the brightness of the object, the size is estimated by the apparent brightness of the object, and having a cometary activity is just changing. It is just affecting the size from brightness. So we have to be very careful. If this is a comet, the size very likely will be less than the 20 kilometers which the object would have if it was just an asteroid, just to say, without any kind of outguessing, any kind of cometary feature. Right now, this object is about 500 million kilometers from us, and I was just checking the weather, and its closest approach, the minimum distance from the Sun, will be reached next October, 29 of October, when it will be 200 million kilometers from our Sun, while the minimum distance from the Earth will be 19 December, when it will be about 270 million kilometers from our planet. This is honestly an amazing object, and as I said, its hyperbolic orbit is outstanding, and we are here starting collecting images. Let me see if here I can start summing images to hopefully spot any hint of the object. We are doing some data reduction in real time. Perhaps 2 images are just not sufficient, not enough. Unfortunately, the clouds are sitting in that part of the horizon, south, where the object is right now. No, this is not going to hit Mars at all. Even if early in October it will be just from astronomical terms 30 million kilometers from Mars, but I don't see how this could collide with planet Mars. But we will learn more as soon as our knowledge of the orbit will improve. As I said, we are imaging the interstellar 3 High Atlas object. We are at this very moment just collecting images in order to sum them and hopefully spot the object we are trying to share. It's very faint. You need a telescope to see it. It's about 2.5 million of times fainter than the polar star, just to give you an idea. Okay. Okay. I'm just collecting images, and at some point I will sum and hopefully we will find the object. The object is pretty faint, and mainly because we have a very bright moon right now, and in order to record it, the idea is the same idea when you take images in the middle of the night. You have to use long exposures, my friends. And here it is, my friends. Look here. This dot of light here, this one, is our interstellar object. I'm very happy that I'm sharing in real time images of this truly fascinating object. How amazing this is. How amazing it is. Let me see if I can actually improve the pointing here. Okay. Let me do one thing, my friend. Then I will explain you what I'm doing. Okay. Let me restart taking images. And let me sum the images I collected so far. So, just to help those who join it right now. Okay, the Virtual Telescope project is offering you the opportunity to see in real time the new interstellar object 3 High Atlas, discovered the 1st of July by my colleagues at the Atlas Sky Survey, and for this they used their station in South America, in Chile, in the Atacama Desert. Since the very beginning, as soon as observations of the object started to arrive to the minor planet center, computing the orbit, it was clear that this guy was moving on an hyperbolic orbit with a speed at infinity of about 60 kilometers per second, clearly showing that this one was not bounded to the sun, was not belonging to the solar system. It was coming from the outer space, and its destiny is to live our solar system because of its speed. Its speed is too high for the object to be captured by our sun. 60 kilometers per second at infinity is honestly a very huge speed. And the eccentricity of the hyperbolic orbit is more than 6. In order to have a closed orbit, you need an eccentricity lower than 1. Our planet, moving on almost a circular orbit, has an eccentricity which is marginally different from 0. Eccentricity 0 is just a circle, okay? Ellipses, more eccentric, of course, as the word is saying, have an eccentricity higher than 0. The parabola has eccentricity 1, and every orbit, with an eccentricity larger than 1 is formally hyperbolic, even if this should be detailed a bit, but I will not do tonight. But in this very case, the case of 3 high Atlas, the eccentricity being larger than 6, the largest eccentricity of the 3 interstellar objects discovered so far, this is for sure interstellar. Several experienced seasoned observers reported a cometary activity, so very likely this is a comet. And from the brightness at the beginning, the size of this object was estimated to be of 20 kilometers, but if the object is actually a comet, the brightness is actually increased by the cometary activity, so the size should be less than 20 kilometers. We will see. It's approaching the sun. The minimum distance from the sun will be reached on 29 of October, and at the point the speed when it will be closer to the sun will be 68 kilometers per second, and this will happen, as I said, on October 29, and it will be 200 million kilometers from our sun. And the minimum distance from our planet, on planet Earth, will be on 19 of December, and the distance will be 270 million kilometers. It will be visible for several months with little telescopes using the photographic techniques, just gathering light that way. That said, let's go and see what is happening now in our images. So I just summarized what we are facing: an interstellar object, the third ever observed, very precious, very important. Needless to say, right now astronomers around the planet are crazy with this object. We are trying to image it. We already spotted it, and in principle what we are doing here is we slew at the telescope where the object is. The telescope is actually tracking that object because the object is moving in space, so it is moving across the stars. So our telescope is advanced enough to be able to track at the very specific motion rates of this interstellar object. And being faint, we need to capture light for some time, exactly like when you are grabbing images at night. You are using long exposures. I am taking images, a number of images, exposing each of them for 120 seconds, 2 minutes. The idea is, once obtained a few 2 minutes exposures, I will add them, and so we will be able to spot this object. Right now we are waiting for the third image of this object, and at that point, as I said, I will be summing the images. I'm pretty sure that soon we will be able to see this object, because we already saw, actually. Just waiting for this almost 40 seconds. Please understand how difficult in principle is to spot such a faint object. Look how many stars we have here. This object is crossing, as seen from the Earth, a very dense star field against the richest regions of the Milky Way in Sagittarius and Serpens, not far from the direction in our sky where the center of our galaxy, the Milky Way, is. So it's incredible that we can spot such a very faint object no matter the many stars we have in that direction. So let's go and let's sum these images. I selected here 3 images. Every image is 120 seconds, so adding them, 3 of them will be almost 2 minutes plus 2 minutes plus 2 minutes, 2 by 3, that is 6 minutes. I will take care of the motion of the object. And look here how beautiful, my friends. I'm so happy. Look, the only dot of light here, I will try to make it easier for you to spot. Not far from the center of the image, you can see here the only dot, because the object is moving against the stars. The telescope is tracking it. So the object being tracked by the telescope is showing us a sharp dot, while the stars are leaving trails. My friends, this object here is the interstellar object we really wanted to share. Look, so happy that once again the Virtual Telescope project is making history, making possible to people worldwide to see this extremely rare, very exclusive object. Someone asked what I'm doing to take these images. It's quite simple. I'm just taking long exposures with the telescope actually tracking the personal motion of the object, and then I sum them. This is how we are just taking pictures. If this is a comet, yes, while it will approach the sun, we should see a coma and tail developing. In this case, it will be fantastic to see. And yes, it's already within the orbit of Jupiter, of course. How funny, how nice is that we are able to spot this truly amazing object. I try to use the negative image so that you can see perhaps better the dot at the very center. The dot in the center, almost the center, is the 3i Atlas interstellar object. I think this is the very first time in the world that an object of this value is shared in real time. So I'm extremely proud that the Virtual Telescope project is doing this to celebrate the wonders of this discovery, the wonders of the night sky, having people joining from every corner, every place of our own planet. How nice, how beautiful. Now I will also try to add more images, sorry. Let me see if I can create a different... I have something in mind. I will do something that will make things easier for you to see. Wait, you can see Look at this image. In the upper right you see much less star than in the center, because there you have interstellar dust absorbing light from the stars coming from behind. So the apparent void is just due to the absorption of interstellar dust. Anyway, I want to show you one thing. Let me see if I succeed. Okay. Look, my friends, I'm just blinking the images, showing, I have two images here, my friends, and I'm showing image 1, image 2, image 1, image 2, every image back to back, and you can see the object as it moves in this very, very short sequence. How amazing it is, my friends. So happy and proud that all this is happening while we are observing. This is the third interstellar object ever discovered by our planet. So amazing, my friends, so amazing. Well, the telescope I'm using here is 14 inches, and the focal length is about, it's about 2.5 meters. It's 360 millimeters in diameter and 2.5 meters in focal length. So proud that the virtual telescope is making possible for people worldwide to be here tonight, enjoying no less than an extraordinary interstellar object. Very likely a comet. Seasoned observers reported cometary features when they observed under ideal conditions. Unfortunately, from the northern hemisphere, particularly from Italy, it's not easy to have high resolution images of this object, because being in Sagittarius, it's always very low above the horizon, so turbulence is making hard for me to get high resolution images, but several colleagues around the planet were able to, isolate, to clearly show the evidence of a small coma underlining the cometary nature of this interstellar object. How nice that we are observing such a very precious, very unique object in real time, thanks to the virtual telescope. I underline, as you know, that you are joining this for free. The virtual telescope project will never ask for money to people to enjoy the beauty of the cosmos. This is because I believe that everyone has the right to enjoy the universe where we live, but at the same time, this does not mean that running this project is free for me. So you are very welcome if you like what we are doing with the world, sharing in this case something very unique, something that likely you will remember forever. If you like this, if you would like to see us continuing doing this, if you would like to see more, please consider supporting us by donations. You can contribute by visiting www.virtualtelescope.eu/donate. I will put this on the chat. This way you will help us paying bills. Where we are trying to understand, let's call it the source of this object, but we still need to wait for some time, because we will want more observations to refine the orbit as much as possible. I do expect also the big telescopes, even from space, of course, will exploit this unexpected opportunity. That is, actually, it's a matter of statistics. From time to time, we had to see such an interstellar object, and now our telescopes and technologies are better and better to do this. And I do expect, and this is actually an idea shared in the astronomical community, that the amazing telescope, the Vera Rubin telescope, which started operating just a couple of weeks ago, will discover a few tenths during its 10 years of activity. Let's see if I can add another image to this, so that our animation will have 3 steps. Okay. And perhaps I can also add another one. The way I am summing the images is actually never done, because to make science, if you sum images, it's important that you sum independent images. I'm just doing a different thing, because the purpose here is to just share with you the motion of the object, so this is why I'm doing this. Anyway, let me see now with 4 images. Look how wonderful it is now, my friends. How beautiful. I have let me try, sorry, to add the 4th. Okay. How proud that the Virtual Telescope project once again is doing something unique, something making history, making possible to a lot of people to enjoy this truly outstanding object. The object, of course, is the dot apparently moving, that is actually moving across the stars. You also see some pixels moving. They are thermal noise typical of CCD charge coupled devices, imaging detectors. But the object is of course the one you are seeing, the one I'm just mentioned. How happy I am. Please consider supporting us. If you find our activities worth your support, just click on the link you see on the top of the chat to help us paying the bills and covering maintenance. As I say, we will never ask for money to join our live feeds, but still we have to keep our project alive, and this is impossible to do for free. How amazing. How amazing, my friends. The Virtual Telescope project is always ready to share with you the beauty of cosmos, particularly when something honestly unusual is around, like in this very case. How happy we are. How happy and how proud we are. Let me see what will happen if I will sum now in a single image many of the pictures I collected. Now I suspect that the object is just in front of some stars on the background, so this is why I excluded some of them. How crazy the star density is here. Oh, look here, my friends. How nice this picture is. This one, my friends, is our object. In the little window in the center, the red circle is just around the object, but on the original image, the object is close to the upper left corner of the little panel. Anyway, here it is. How beautiful it is. How proud we are. Please consider supporting our project. Just visit www.virtualtelescope.eu/donate if you like what we are doing, if you believe that making this experience accessible is worth your support. It's my pleasure to share this kind of things with the community. We have been doing this over the last 19 years now, this is also a reason for people to trust our project. We have been providing the most important international media with original images, footage, information, and so on. So please consider supporting us. How nice, my friends. While it's just a mere dot, the meaning of the dot is extremely, extremely huge. Let me see also if the single images without any sum are able to show the object or not. Of course, the quality will be oh, here it is, my friends. Lesson learned, always try. The object you see in motion close to the center is our object. Perhaps with this animation made with the basic images, you can even understand better how difficult in principle is to spot such a faint object in a sea of stars of similar brightness. How beautiful, my friends. How amazing all this is. Yes, Colin, the telescope is tracking the object, so everything else looks like a trail. You grabbed the point so sharply. Absolutely no risk of collision between this object and any satellite. Please, my friends, sit and look. The dot of light has traveled perhaps for billions of years in outer space, and for our incredible luck, it is now crossing our spot of heaven, our solar system, and during the months, actually perhaps a couple of years, it will be within the reach of the James Webb Telescope, for example. Who knows what we will learn from this amazing visitor from outer space. How amazing. How amazing. Its speed to infinity is a bit more than about a bit more than 60 kilometers per second. Of course, we will keep tracking this object. I strongly suggest you to subscribe the Virtual Telescope Project page on Facebook and also our YouTube channel, because not only we will share images taken in the next weeks and months, but I plan to share new live views of this object. My very pleasure, Lucas. Hi Suzy, always a pleasure to see you on board. So happy to see some of you now all-time friends. Now let me see what will happen if I will sum basically all the images. For those of you interested, here it is where the object is right now. Where you see the yellow crosshair, that is the point where the telescope is pointing. That is the object between Sagittarius, Ophiuchus and Serpens Cauda, the tail of the serpent, and Sagittarius, the famous zodiacal constellation. I'm using the negative palette because to me it makes the object clearly better visible. Also, let me say how incredible all this stuff is. You are at home around the planet, you know where you are. I am sitting in Rome and the telescope is alone in the middle of nothing in the beautiful countryside of Maremma in Tuscany, 150 kilometers north of my chair right now. How incredible all this thing is. I'm honestly amazed. If you like what the virtual telescope is doing, please consider supporting us. You can do this quite easily. Just visit the link on the top fixed message on the chat, www.virtualtelescope.eu/donate. This way you will help us keeping our project up and running. how proud to see our system in action. In a few minutes I will actually close this one. Let's see. I hope you are enjoying this. How beautiful, how unique. I really love the idea that people are sitting at their homes and we are virtually around our telescope in Italy. Having this incredible fun, this incredible opportunity. Now I see some clouds are crossing the field. The dot of light, you see, let me see if I can the dot of light you see in the center of the image is the object. Let me try another special combination. All the images to reduce the presence of the stars and better isolate the object. Look, this is a particular technique of combination, and the object is the only dot you see in the center. How beautiful. Love it. Honestly, I love it. Beautiful. Very, very beautiful. As for the tail, I'm not sure we will be able to see it, because as I said, the sky is not perfect. It's hampered by clouds, and the target is pretty, relatively low above the northern hemisphere horizon. But I will do better analysis tomorrow. Please consider supporting our project if you like what we are doing. As I said, we will never ask for money. We will always make our live feeds available for free. Everyone must have the opportunity to enjoy the cosmos, but in order to keep our project alive, of course, we have to pay bills, we have to fix issues from time to time. So if you like what we are doing, if you think your experience tonight is worth your support, visit www.virtualtelescope.eu/donate. That is the link I just shared on the chat, and visible also on the top of it. Let me sum all the images we have so far. Every image collected light for 2 minutes. Look how nice, my friends. How nice it is. So friends, we are going to close this live feed. I hope you really enjoyed it. We shared with you no less than the extremely rare, very unique interstellar object 3I Atlas, discovered the 1st of July by the Atlas survey, and the virtual telescope project made possible for the world to have a look from the comfort of your home. I hope you will consider supporting the virtual telescope project in order to have similar activities in the future, because we don't want people to pay to join these feeds, but to keep the project alive we need your help. So those of you having the possibility to support us are kindly invited to consider supporting us, paying the bills. Visit www.virtualtelescope.eu/donate or click on the link I made available on the top of our YouTube chat. I also invite you to join our Facebook page, the Virtual Telescope Project page on Facebook, and I strongly recommend you to click on the little bell to subscribe our YouTube channel, so that you are sure to be notified as soon as we will schedule something great again. We are always ready to bring for free the beauty of the cosmos. I also want to thank the technological partners of the Virtual Telescope project. They are SoftwareBisque, C-Web and Telescope Live. I also want to thank all the international media which featured our event, made possible for you to learn about this and join. I apologize if I repeat again. Please consider supporting us. Visit www.virtualtelescope.eu/donate and make sure, if you can, to support our activities by even a very small donation. Take care, my friends, and I'm looking forward to bring to you more wonders, more beauty, more fun, more excitement. Meantime, take care and keep looking up.